Good morning, Wabash. Speaking today at Pioneer Chapel will be Gregory D. Hess with his talk titled, "And Loud and Long Shall Echo the Song." Gregory D. Hess was the 16th president of Wabash College. He led national efforts articulating and promoting the value of a liberal arts education. His many achievements at Wabash College also included hosting a conference entitled "Celebrating the Value of the Liberal Arts," with scholars, college presidents, foundation leaders, and representatives of the business, medicine, and law fields attending. He also directed the development of co-curricular Wabash X initiatives in democracy and public discourse, digital arts and human values, global health, and the Center for Innovation, Business, and Entrepreneurship. In addition, Greg initiated a rebranding of Wabash College and provided critical leadership during a master planning process that included enhancements in campus life, academics, and infrastructure. As part of Wabash College's Giant Steps, a campaign for Wabash College initiative, Greg Hess secured a $40 million gift, the largest single gift in the college's history. Greg now lives in Chicago, where he is the CEO and president of IES Abroad. Having joined IES Abroad in 2020, Greg is an extremely well-rounded leader and brings a wealth of expertise and experience across higher education, liberal arts, and business. His passion for education and economics bring an important and distinctive perspective. Let's give a warm welcome to former President Hess.
Good morning, Wabash. I would like to thank Ian Holmberg, Cooper Jacks, and the Sphinx Club for inviting me. To the faculty, staff, alumni, board member, and friends who supported Laura and I in our time at Wabash and after, and for the exceptional work that President Feller and Wendy undertake each and every day to boldly lead Wabash College into its very bright future. I can tell you that there are few things in life and in this world that sound better than being here in the chapel, surrounded by Wabash men, the Glee Club, friends and family, singing Old Wabash. It's a very, very long song. As we close today's chapel talk later, we will sing the song, enjoy every note, and for those few minutes, the cares and burdens of the day, the month, the years, and the crazy times we live in today will just melt away. In the spring of 2013, a little over 10 years ago, I was leaving Claremont McKenna College in Southern California to join Wabash College. Jim Amadon sent me a recording of the song. Jim told me in no uncertain terms that I had to learn it, every single word. And he meant it. And so on a 500-mile or so drive to visit friends and family in San Francisco, my hometown, I played Old Wabash nonstop. I blew up the font size and printed it out, which is a luxury you can enjoy while driving up and glancing at jumbo-sized lyrics as you drive literally straight up Interstate 5 in California. It's a straight line. You don't have to make any turns for like 300 miles. By the time I arrived in the city, my hometown, I had mastered the song. I was not going to not know the song. Both verses. Now, no W for me. Now, when I tell you that I didn't want to get a W, that sounds pretty strange by today's standards. What do you mean by no W? How could I literally be happy with no W? How could that ever be a good thing? And here's why. Because when I arrived 10 years ago, students lined up on the mall, by living unit, arms length apart, and sang the song to perfection to avoid receiving a big red W. It was, in kind of Harry Potter's language, a dark mark. It was finally Dean Mike Raiders, who I deeply appreciate, and his mastery, that eventually convinced the Sphinx Club that a big red W should always be a good thing, a great thing, and that earning a W was a much better chapel sing tradition than what Wabash had been doing for years. And so it began anew. A new tradition, a little different, but headed in the same direction, with the same passion and spirit. I'll come back to those traditions later in my talk. And I chose the title for today's chapel talk for several reasons. Let's begin with the understanding that a lot of the Wabash Nation knows the song, and I'm just going to say this as a fact. A lot more people know the first verse than know the second verse. It's a fact. I won't name names for now, but we can all read lips, especially the lips of those with their heads down, looking at their shoes, who are just mumbling rather than belting out the lyrics of the song. As an aside, one of the traditions I really wanted to start at Wabash College was faculty staff chapel sing here at Wabash. On the mall. On the mall, arm's length apart. Maybe you should ask your favorite faculty or staff member just how well they might do, even on the first verse. But I digress. While the lyrics of Old Wabash will not earn the college any music or literary awards for anything other than song length, the opening line of the second verse pulls your mind forward, boldly, forcibly, positively, and with optimism, in ways that mimic the college and its graduates' trajectories, giant and lasting accomplishment for her loyal sons. Here's why the song and the second verse are so very important. Because despite what you might think, both the song and the second verse are not about looking back. In fact, it's all about looking ahead. Literally, the opening line of the second verse is about how the past projects onto the future, loud and long. There is scant use of the past tense in the entire song. It's about future days, and our greatest joys will be. It's about getting together again and again, just like that loud and long echo. It's also a confidence song. The language is extremely declarative, not interrogative, not tentative, not uncertain. It's bold, the only way a small liberal arts college for men should be. Here's something else. The song sounds better, a lot better, when it's sung together. This is true of whatever typical Wabash refreshment you're enjoying at the time, or whether Wabash is winning on the field or experiencing a character-building opportunity, or the time of day or the venue. The song is sung in gatherings, in the chapel, on the court, on the mat, the pitch, the track, on the field of competition, at ringing in, at graduation, at alumni gatherings, and at almost every event. The implication that the song is a collective activity rather than an individual one fits with a theme that I emphasized here and still think holds. The ecosystem here asks the best from each of you. And of course, the college is always happy to share your accomplishments and accolades. But Wabash is at its best when it's a collective. My tagline in my last year as president here was that each of us is little. Together, we are giants. Remember that every time you put on a uniform or cheer for somebody who is wearing a uniform. Remember that every time you hear the term little giants, it is not a contradiction, everybody. It's an understanding. Each of us can do their best, but together, even more can be accomplished. It's not just about you, it's about us. Now, Old Wabash is one of the great traditions here at Wabash, one of the very many that we have. But there are many types of traditions, and the song is what I think of as an ornamental tradition. What I mean by that is that the college was spectacular for the 65 years before the song was ever written, and it has been terrific ever since it has been adopted. In other words, the song is emblematic of why the college is great, but it is not the reason why the college is great. It may sound like heresy, but Wabash College would still be great without the song. Old Wabash is just a reminder that the college is great, but it's not why the college is great. It's an effect. It's not a cause. In fact, what I consider to be the college's real traditions are intrinsic and foundational. The real traditions are core, fundamental, and inexorable. They will serve the college well into her third century. So here's my attempt to list. And I know all of you are waiting for me to pull out a list, because every talk usually has a list, and you'd be surprised to learn it has 4 things, because that's about all I can remember in my age. And this list is going to be what I believe to be the true traditions of the college that underpin her greatness, the traditions that make her and her alumni echo loud and long. Let's begin with academic excellence. Everything good about a college or university starts in the classroom, everyone. Wabash is hard. There are lots of classes and comprehensive exams, written and oral, and classes at 8 in the morning, and even classes on Friday. These are distant dreams at many other institutions, everyone. And oh my gosh, you guys have to take math and science and language, and sometimes things you don't think you want to take, but you'll be thankful for later. You did not come here to hide in the back row, and if you did, you seriously miscalculated, and you probably need to take that aforementioned math class. Oh, and by the way, classes are hard. And by the way, that academic load is going to make you feel little sometimes, very little. Fortunately, you are accompanied by giants. Those are the faculty and staff and coaches and alumni and friends that are here to support you, the college's second great tradition. For instance, we know what Princeton Review has had to say about Wabash College's faculty. The college just this year was recognized as the #1 college for most accessible professors, and #2 for professors who get high marks. It's not for the first time that Wabash has been recognized in this way. As I mentioned before, everything good about a college starts in the classroom. And at Wabash, it does not end there. Faculty, teachers, scholars, staff, and coaches, and others stretch the notion of the classroom to areas far beyond. They are difference makers in each student's life. Next, the gentleman's rule. Now, Professor Wally Novak opined in a 2010 chapel talk, available as number 99 in the podcast series, on the evolution of the gentleman's rule. In it, he references an earlier chapel talk 10 years earlier by a student named Rob Herzog, who identifies the original potential antecedent of the rule in the 1839-1840 course catalog. It states the following: every student is received as a gentleman and is expected to conduct himself with propriety, to be diligent in study, and to deport himself in an orderly and courteous and moral manner, both in the college and in the community. I often referred, in my time as president, to the ungendered version of the gentleman's rule as the golden rule plus. Not only treat others as you would like to be treated, but to treat others as they would like to be treated. Be nice. Do the right thing. Think of others before yourself. A college run on this engine will go very far. There will be responsibility, but even more freedom. Ironic, but a fundamental piece of the college. The final deep tradition of Wabash College is lifelong friendships. I continue to be visited by Wabash alumni and family who stay in touch, stay involved, gather around, and share the college's collective spirit. Across the coast and literally around the world, I am constantly amazed by how the Wabash Nation remains meaningfully involved in each other's lives. This Wabash tradition of alumni and friends banding together is like the tradition of gathering for Thanksgiving. Being grateful together for the life that the college has made for each of us is just better than being grateful alone. But ultimately, and the reason why is because ultimately, the greatest gift that the college gives each of us is each other. bundled together in these cherished deep traditions. Great classes, great faculty, staff, and coach mentors, a great set of expectations, and lifelong friendships with fellow alumni and the Wabash family. But these great and fundamental traditions don't just persist on their own without each one of us doing our part, whether in the classroom, in the community, on the field, as mentors to the next generation, or in giving back. All of us doing a little makes a very giant difference. I'd like to close by taking a quiet moment to echo on behalf of the Wabash Nation, and personally from Laura and from me, the gratitude for all the little giants who supported the college through the Giant Steps campaign. Now, remember that the magnitude of and duration of an echo depends on the effort put forth and the cultivated landscape. And there is always a delicious pause between when a sound is put forth and when the echo emerges. And we're in such a giant moment right now. The gifts from the campaign, the first giant step, will make a loud and long echo that will support the college through its bicentennial in 2032 and far beyond. And the Wabash Nation is here this weekend to grandly celebrate this milestone. And then everyone, just like in your classes, just like your time here as students, then it'll be time to get back to work. Because the work at a college is never finished. Indeed, the responsibility to preserve and sustain the college's intrinsic traditions and values I spoke about will continue to be handed down to the next generation and the next generation, and yes, even to the students, the little giants here in the chapel here today. That's the tradition. Each one of you, each one of us doing our part, even if you believe it's a little part, helps Wabash College take many giant steps and ultimately ensures that her song echoes loud and long, boldly and confidently in her third century, till hill and valley are ringing. Thank you.